For the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, in times like these, I think it's right that we praise you. I think it's time that we be thankful not only for you, but for the leadership in our county, the leadership in our city, the leadership with our businesses, and the courage of our citizens as we face this COVID-19. And we won't allow it to ruin our lives. We won't allow it to change our lifestyles, because we know that greater is he who is in us than he who is in this world, and we shall overcome. So, Father, give hope and give courage to the citizens of our county, and let us be thankful for those who protect us, for those who work for our common good. And thus is what this meeting is for this morning. It's for our safety, it's for our common good. And so I pray for our leadership that you'll guide them as they make the decisions that are best for the citizens of Fremont County. Thank you, Father, because we know that what has a beginning also has an end. And there'll be a time when we look back at this period of time and we will be able to see the great courage of the folks of Fremont County. Thank you, God. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Before we do roll call, I just would like to let everyone watching us at home know that we actually are abiding by the mask rules, by all of the separation rules. We call it physical distancing because we don't like the connotation of social distancing. But once we get down here into our meeting space, we need to get those masks off so you can actually hear us at home. So I just want to make sure that you all know that and understand that. So let's go ahead and do roll call.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
Commissioner Payne.
Present.
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
And for those watching, County Manager Bryant and Planning and Zoning Director Garrett are both in the audience today.
Thank you. Turning next to the approval of today's agenda, I am unaware of any changes we need to make.
Nor am I, Madam Chair. I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Under our consent agenda, we are not scheduling any public hearings into the future, so we always like to keep track of that, to call your attention to when we are scheduling those, but we have none under today's consent agenda.
Then, Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's consent agenda. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, up next is informational and administrative topics. We're going to begin with staff and elected officials. We have a county manager's report this morning from Sunny Bryant, our county manager. And when she's finished with that, she's going to roll right into a sales and use tax report. Good morning, Sunny.
Good morning. Okay, so just a few updates on some projects we are working on. So we're in the process of completing the final brownfields assessments. So we received $600,000 from EPA back in 2018 to complete brownfield site assessments. And so we've gone through and we've completed multiple assessments on 11 different properties, anything from phase 1 to phase 2 to asbestos and different other assessments. And then we're actually in the process of doing 2 final properties. We're moving some money from petroleum to the hazardous line items and going through and finishing up that program. So we're hoping to have all of this finished and closed out this year. And so that's very exciting to bring all of that. And we're looking forward to all of the success that brings into the community for those properties and the properties that are around them that may be impacted by anything that happens on those sites. So we are finalizing the design for the second floor on the judicial building. We'll be putting that project out to bid here over the next couple of weeks. So it'll be good to get that courtroom finished on the second floor and be able to actually move some of the items at the judicial building into that. And so I know with COVID right now, they're having a hard time just accommodating anything from jury trials to the selection process and everything. So it'll be nice to have that.
Let me interrupt you on that for just a second. I misspoke one time. I thought because it was kind of on the verge of us losing that grant for that. We did not lose that grant for that. So it is still grant funded what we're doing out there. So
correct. So we have 2 different grants that we're working on. We have an underfunded courthouse grant and then a DOLA energy and mineral impact grant, and then the county's contribution for the remainder of that project. And so we're moving forward with that. We've started the 2021 budget process, and so we'll be getting out the templates to the departments and elected officials over the next couple weeks, and then go full-fledged into that. And so any interested citizens will be having a public hearing in November. The budget will be posted on, it's hard to say apparently, on the county's website at the end of October, and so stay tuned for that information. And then the last item I wanted to discuss is we have opened up the Fremont County Restart Business Grant Funding opportunity. And so for any businesses that have been impacted by the COVID-19, we do have grant funds that are through the CARES Act that are flowing through Fremont County, and the commissioners have allocated a portion of those funds to go towards some business grants. And so if you have been impacted, log on to our website. It's fremontco.com, and there is information on our homepage that has the actual application. And this is reimbursable for any COVID-related expenditures. And so if you've had to purchase any hand sanitizers or just anything that's COVID-related, there's more information there. And if you have questions, feel free to email that. There's an email address that's on that page, or feel free to reach out to me individually, and I'd be happy to answer whatever questions we have. So we are still getting some clarification because this is all new to every one of us that's dealing with it, and there's hundreds of questions that get posted onto a website that DOLA maintains, and so I'm trying to stay up to date just to see exactly what's eligible. So, you know, if we don't have an answer to some of those specific questions, we'll work on getting those. But like I said, please be patient. This is a brand new process for everybody, but I'm very excited to announce that we have that opportunity. So that's all I have on the manager's report. I don't know if anybody wants to expand on any of those.
Just, I would add that with the grant program, our first deadline is scheduled currently for August 15th.
Yes.
So the sooner you get your information in, the higher chance you may have of getting funded. So,
Yes. And it is, just to expand a little bit, it is for any expenses from March 1st, and they actually go through December. So if you have something that you need for your business, but you don't have funds to purchase that, there's various things that can be used for. So like I said, get more information from there or reach out to one of us and we can help you. So going into the sales tax report, and I'll zoom in a little bit more on this so it's easier to see. Okay, so the retail sales tax collections for the month of May, so we are 2 months behind on our collections, those came in at $612,024. So those numbers are actually up $132,000 from May of last year. And year to date, we are up $419,236. And so we continue to watch this. We know that the unemployment numbers were up and that the individuals that are receiving the unemployment were eligible for the additional amounts. And so we will monitor that over the next few months to see what changes that may bring when those funds are going away. But as of right now, our sales tax numbers have come in significantly higher than where we had been in prior years. The auto use tax collections came in at $149,045, which is up $43,467 from last year. Year to date, we are down $47,336. So we continue to monitor that and on the reports that Clerk Grantham is giving. The construction use tax in May, this is through June, came in at $28,704. Which is up $13,430 in June, and year to date we are up $32,061. So there is a lot of activity that's happening in the community. The lodging tax came in at $1,768. So year to date we're up $212. So the next remittance that comes in, we'll get that within the first week of August, and that'll give us a really good idea on what that's going to look like. So I've been working a lot with the Tourism Council just to make sure that they're not overspending. They've done some, pretty significant cuts to their budget just to try to maintain that. So like I said, this next report will give us a pretty good idea on what that will look like. And then on the sheriff's 1%, the retail sales tax came in at $408,016, which is up $88,187. Year to date, that's up $279,491. The sheriff auto use tax collection came in at $99,363, which is up $28,978. Year-to-date, it's down $31,557. And then last, the construction use tax for the sheriff came in June at $18,994, which is up $8,811. And year-to-date, it's up $21,153. So as we go through, we're finishing up a mid-year review. Everything right now is looking good. We're pretty optimistic that things will actually end pretty well for us this year, but we're keeping a very close eye on all of the numbers coming in, and we will use that to forecast into our 2021 budget process. So, any questions?
All right, anything else for Sunny?
Well, the auto use tax, that's just people not buying cars or new cars, probably due to COVID, would you imagine?
That would probably be, there are a lot of people buying cars with their stimulus checks that are coming through, so we're actually seeing an increase on that part. It's just, we're still catching up from when March happened and all the renewals that people didn't come in or private sales didn't come through. So you're seeing the deficits in March and April and May, but it's being made up June, July, August. So you'll start seeing a trend that'll flatten out probably September, October.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you, Sunny.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other staff and elected officials reports. I wanted to chat for a moment this morning about the Fremont County Fair that currently is happening, once again with all of those health regulations in place. This fair definitely looks different than anything we have ever done in the past. Many times kids are doing things in front of judges by themselves. Their parents aren't watching, they have no family member, they have no audience there. Our lives have looked different this week because we typically are out at the fair over and over again. We usually have a ribbon cutting ceremony that we were unable to hold this year. But I think there have been a lot of lessons learned this year because one option quite simply was to cancel the entire fair, but our fair board felt that it was important to teach kids that you can roll with the punches and that you don't always get in life the things that you want and that you need to be flexible, you need to be able to change your plans and to change the things that you are doing. So I think kids this year actually might be learning a few more life lessons than they normally learn during the Fremont County Fair. Also, the livestock auction will be happening this Saturday night starting at 6 p.m. There are several different, several different opportunities to participate. You can do it online, you can call in, you can actually be there in person at Pathfinder Park. If you want information on how to do that, please email fcsaleCommittee@gmail.com. So we're really happy that results are coming in. It looks like the kids have been working very hard this year, and there are a lot of awards being given out. So just kudos to all of you who have been working so very, very hard on the Fremont County Fair. Gentlemen?
I've got a couple of things. One, just a reminder to everybody that we are still under stage 1 fire restrictions. Yes, we've been getting a few rain showers in the evenings and they're wonderful. Thank the Lord for those. We did have some flooding up on the Decker fire burn scar, which was mostly in Chaffee County and Swatch County, but there was some bled over into Fremont County. And we had one canal that flooded day before yesterday, I guess it was. Luckily, there were no structures damaged, just the road kind of washed out. They've kind of got that back in place, and they're kind of geared up for it again today because there's supposed to be some more storms coming. So we're going to talk here in a little bit about drought conditions in Fremont County. So it's kind of a weird deal. We're getting rain, we're having floods, but we're still in a drought. So it's awful dry out there. So just a reminder of that. I do want to bring up something that we got an email this morning, and I'd seen a news story about this actually. That all across Colorado, across the United States, actually, the Department of Colorado, Department of Agriculture has been receiving lots of numerous reports across the state of people receiving unsolicited packages of seeds in the mail. And they seem to be originating from China and other countries. The USDA, the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, is working closely with the Department of Homeland Security at the borders to try to stop these seeds from coming in because they're potentially prohibited seeds in the USA. They're invasive pests and seeds. So if anybody does receive any of those unsolicited seeds in a package, don't open them, don't plant them. You need to get a hold of the USDA. And there is a a website and a phone number on this, and I'll actually have, Sonny, if you'll post this to our Facebook page and possibly on our county page eventually, it's got the email address on it and a phone number. So if anybody gets any of those packages of seeds, didn't order them, don't know anything about them, don't open them, don't plant them, could be an invasive weed, noxious weed, and get a hold of the USDA, Department of Agriculture, and they'll tell you what to do with those seeds and how to get rid of them. So just be on the heads up. Like I said, there was a report on the national news the other night about that, so it's something that's just coming across. So be aware of that coming in your mailbox, hopefully. Not, but be aware of it. That's all I've got.
All right. Commissioner Payne, anything?
Commissioner McFall talked about everything I wanted to, and he did a much better job than I probably did. Well done.
All right. Up next, citizens who wish to address the commissioners on a matter not scheduled on today's agenda. We do have one request this morning from Mr. Ray Linebaugh. If you'd like to come to the microphone, sir, and please let us know what's on your mind.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Bear with me because I just put this together. I've applied for a temporary user's permit, and I know we're behind on that, but apparently so is the whole country. And what this is for a God and Country Music Festival, which honors, this is our second annual. Last year we did it in Veterans Park. We're honoring all veterans and all first responders, and we're highlighting the effects of PTSD on our first responders and all branches of service. At the present, we're losing 23 veterans a day with suicide. My background is I'm a Vietnam vet, United States Marine Corps. I was with the 1st Battalion, 9th Marines, also known as the Walking Dead. We had the highest casualty rate of all the Marine units in Vietnam. I was wounded several times, and one time even by friendly fire. Physical wounds can heal, but the thing that I've been battling with for 50 years is the PTSD that goes along with it. I'm 100% service-connected, PTSD, hearing, and other things, but I got help in 2002. I just fell apart, and I did get help with a unit, PTSD unit in Topeka, Kansas. When I got done, I was in a group for 5 years, and I finally realized that I could help vets, so I've been doing that, and have a very successful rate with that. I'm the chaplain for our network nationwide, and I'm also the chaplain for the Marine Corps League here. And I've had a very, very high success rate with that. So this came about, my ministry is Harvest Connections, and one of our programs is Veterans Helping Vets. And that's how this God and Country came about. This year, I would like to hold it at the airport because it's only one way in. I've been working with Sheriff Cooper quite a bit. He helped me last year. And Wesley Brandt at the airport manager, we've gone out there. It's going to be totally fenced with crowd control. It does not interfere with the airport at all. It's just an event there. So the FAA does not have to be involved in that. Wesley is here today, and I've also been working with Amanda APODACA.
Apodaca.
Apodaca. Yes.
Apodaca, okay. And on a regular basis, we talk. I just talked to her yesterday. We're at 250. The variance stands at 250, not counting staff. She said if push comes to shove, the worst that it can get right now is they will drop it down to 175. She said then it could go back up depending on the rate of COVID cases. Now, because of that, I decided to split the event. It's one event, but I'm going from 11 to 3 with the first group to hold the crowd to that number. 3:30, we'll clear it out. 3:30 to 8 is the second batch. Maximizes the amount of people that can come. People have a hard time going from 11 all the way to 8 anyway, so you're going to have them going back and forth. And she thought that was a good idea. She said, I need an approval from you. She said, you just email me that you will comply, and I will give you a permit for that. So it's August the 29th. August the 29th is, and I've got the Civil Air Patrol is going to do all the parking and security for the event. The sheriff is going to be there. If word gets out and we do get protested, they can't get in because there's only one way in. It's very secure.
So, Mr. Linebaugh, let me stop you just for a moment. You have an application into planning and zoning currently, is that correct? So we have that application. We will be checking into it to see what we can do with that. If we do end up having a public hearing for this, we will ask you to come back at that time so you can answer a lot of those questions for us.
Okay.
So unless there's something else really specific that you need to let us know this morning, you'll have an opportunity to come back and to give us all of that specific information.
Okay, this is a time-sensitive situation.
Yes.
And because I've dragged my feet on it because I didn't know how to proceed or if I should proceed. So as far as advertising goes, I need an answer that yes or no as fast as I can because I do have to get this out to the public. So if we can expedite this, either way, I would really appreciate it. And
Okay.
if there's a public hearing, I'll be here.
Okay, we will have a conversation and let you know as quickly as we can what we plan to do with this, okay? All right, and sir, thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you all. Do we have any other citizens who wish to address this board on a matter not scheduled on today's agenda? All right, seeing none, let's go ahead and move on. We have no old business for consideration today. Our first item of new business is annual ambulance licensing renewals. We have with us this morning Michael Kroll. He is the Fremont County Emergency Manager. And as Michael probably will explain when he gets here, we're doing this a few months late because, once again, of COVID-19 and how it's changed everyone's lives. So, Michael, just to let you know, we would like to do these individually. So if you can present one at a time, we'll make a motion, and then we'll move on.
Sounds good.
Okay?
And yeah, I appreciate you guys working with me on pushing these back during the peak of COVID when everything got started and making that process easier for me and even with the response agencies because they had all their policies and procedures in place. So it made it easier for them not have to take all that down and then put everything back up and make sure everything was done more and more times and wasting PPE and all that. So it was appreciated across the board. So
Absolutely.
yes, this morning I'm here to ask for the approval of ambulance licenses for the 8 ambulance service agencies that operate within Fremont County. We do have BLS, which is basic life support. We have ALS, which is advanced life support. And we also have critical care transport as well. So with these, I go out, do my ambulance inspections, make sure they have the correct medications, PPE, everything they need to provide the highest level of care for all of the citizens in Fremont County and those that they transport in and out of Fremont County. We have on the list of the 8, AMR, American Medical Response, Flight for Life, Colorado, Florence Volunteer Fire Department, Penrose Volunteer Fire Department, Deer Mountain Fire Protection District, Arkansas Valley Ambulance District, UC Health, and Security Fire Protection District as well.
Okay, who would you like to start with? We really need to know which specific level we're looking at for each one of these.
So all of these, just are ALS, because they have the ALS rating, so under ALS, they can operate as ALS, or BLS if they don't have ALS staff on board. That makes it to where they can still operate and not have to stand down a call and not provide medical services when they're needed. So we can start at the top with American Medical Response for their ALS and their staff fully ALS 24/7, 365.
Okay. Do you gentlemen have any questions before we proceed with motions?
No, don't believe so.
No.
All right, who wants to
Okay,
start?
Madam Chair, I would move to approve AMR, American Medical Response for ALS ambulance service.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve AMR with an ALS license. Further discussion? Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Okay, next we can just go to Flight for Life, Colorado, for their critical care and their ALS and BLS. They have all three on theirs.
Okay.
Okay, I move to approve Flight for Life license ALS.
Second.
Critical care and
Critical care and
BLS as
BLS.
well.
Second.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded to approve Flight for Life Colorado with critical care, ALS, and BLS licensing. Further discussion? Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Next would be Florence Volunteer Fire Department as an ALS, and they do have ALS and BLS staff both.
Move to approve Florence ambulance for ALS and BLS license.
Second.
It has been moved and
It's
seconded.
actually, I'm sorry, an ALS license. They do have BLS staff.
Yes. All right. It has been moved and seconded to approve Florence Volunteer Fire Department to run as ALS ambulance, BLS when the staffing is at that level. Further discussion? Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Up next.
Next up is Penrose Volunteer Fire Department with an ALS license, and they both have ALS and BLS staff.
Okay, Madam Chair, I move that we approve Penrose Volunteer Fire License, ALS, along with the critical care,
BLS, no critical
BLS,
care.
excuse me.
Okay.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve Penrose Volunteer Fire Department to run ALS ambulance, BLS when staffed that way. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Number 5.
Arkansas Valley Ambulance District as an ALS license, and they have both ALS and BLS staff.
Madam Chair, I move to approve Arkansas Valley Ambulance District as ALS license and BLS when staffed, so.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve Arkansas Valley Ambulance District with their licensing for ALS to run BLS when necessary. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And the last one on for today is Security Fire Protection District, and they have ALS and BLS staff.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve Security Fire District License ALS and the BLS.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve Security Fire Protection District running as ALS, BLS when necessary. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
And Michael, I do believe we still need to do Deer
Deer
Mountain
Mountain,
and UC
yeah.
Health.
Yes, and UC Health will have to wait because they don't have their new ambulance yet.
Okay.
So they will be getting their new ambulance upfitted, and we'll have to wait until they get that done. I haven't heard from them on, it's supposed to be in, but they're getting it filled up and ready to go.
But it's a brand new ambulance.
Yep.
Okay, and what about Deer Mountain?
And Deer Mountain, they have ALS and BLS staff and an ALS license.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I move to approve Deer Mountain.
Oh, hang on a second. Madam Chair, I need a vote from you for our security fire.
Sorry. Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
I
Thanks for keeping me straight.
move to approve Deer Mountain ambulance service for ALS, BLS when so staffed.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve an ALS license for Deer Mountain, running as BLS when necessary. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Michael, thank you so much. I know this is a ton of work for you. And I will tell you, this licensing process is so much quicker and easier than it used to be. So thank you for your professionalism in dealing with this.
Thank you. I was tasked with making these better for Fremont County and rewrote everything, and with your guys' help and the county attorneys, everybody has thanked me for the new process and how it works well with the other counties that they operate in. So I hope this helps from now until the future.
I think it
Well
certainly
done.
has.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. The hour has reached 10 a.m. We have before us a public hearing scheduled. This is a request for a temporary use permit 20-004 for the Skyline Mennonite Church, requesting approval of a temporary use permit for a benefit auction to allow a one-day auction on October 3rd to be held at 155 Shoup Drive. Food and drinks will be provided at the event. This is the third request for the TUP. The name I have before me this morning as representative is Lauren Miller. Is Lauren available? Good morning. Come on up, sir, if you would. I'm going to go ahead and open this public hearing. All right, if you would like to just kind of let us know what the plan is, what you're looking at doing on the 3rd.
Well, we'd like to have an auction, again, at the airport location like we've had the last several years. It's been really, really successful, way exceeded our expectations. We know that we're in a different era, so we want to hear from you about that as well. But we are very concerned about that. One of the things that I wanted to let you know, last year I told you about how we lived in Thailand and we became aware of the trafficking situation. They're still saying today that there's still 4,000 to 5,000 children trafficked from Thailand to America every year. We're hoping some of these things are being discovered.
That's very disturbing.
But in a little way, this auction was able to keep 60 children safe in their home environments, their communities, and we're very happy with being able to do that through this benefit. So,
You should be very proud of that number. Yes.
yeah, it's to be in 6 countries, more than 500 kids. Never would have expected. I thought I was done about 3 years ago when I retired out of New Horizons, but that's. So I do have some flyers and a business card for SAFE that I'd love to give to you if I may approve.
Absolutely, yes. Would like to just hand them.
We can pass them down.
Yeah, we can do that.
It's all right.
We'll get it figured out.
We'll get them figured out.
Yep.
One more card and we're good to go. 2 more. We'll get them.
What it is just, it's a card for sponsors, and also a card for those who like to donate items for the event. And I don't want to preclude anybody from being involved. And so
All right.
you guys would be a great start for this. So
Okay, let me ask the question. Have you had a conversation with the Department of Public Health to follow the guidelines that they have put into place for events like this?
yes, I met with Brenda, or not Brenda,
Emma or Amanda?
Amanda. There we
Amanda,
go.
okay.
Several weeks ago, and she said we're all good as far as she's concerned, but she wants to be contacted closer to the event to know exactly how things are.
Okay, sounds good. Gentlemen, do you have further questions at this time?
No.
All right, thank you. Let's have a staff report. Planning and Zoning Director Sean Garrett. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning. Okay, so the department has reviewed the application and found it to be complete and true representation of the request as stated herein. Department finds that all requirements for the Fremont County zoning resolution will be satisfied by this application. We
So-
do recommend approval,
Sorry.
providing they can meet the COVID requirements at the time of the event.
Okay. I see that they are requesting a waiver of the cash surety bond.
That is correct. They are requesting a waiver of the surety bond.
And this is the third year for this request, correct?
Yes, in the last 2 years, they have requested the waiver of the surety bond, and that's been approved.
And we have had no complaints about this event in the past?
We've had no complaints, no issues with it.
Okay. Gentlemen, any questions for Sean?
No.
All right, thanks, Sean. This is a public hearing. I would like to ask if there are any members of the public who would like to rise and to make any comments about this event. All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. And if there's nothing further, gentlemen, I will ask for a motion.
Hey, Madam Chair, I move to approve temporary use permit 20-004 for the Skyline Mennonite Church. There is no contingency items and the one waiver request for the cash surety bond.
Do you want to address the COVID in that?
Sure. How would I word that?
Providing all requirements as set forth by public health or
By
followed.
public health? Yeah, we'll
That
go
would
with that.
Okay.
Okay.
If that works, it's your motion.
Okay.
I'll
Thank you for
second
adding
that.
that. Appreciate that.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded to approve TUP 20-004 for the Skyline Mennonite Church benefit auction to be held at 155 Shoup Drive on Saturday, October the 3rd. This motion does include the waiver of a cash surety bond, and it also does include the following of all recommendations as set forth to you by public health. Anything further?
No, I just want to applaud you for what you guys are doing. It's amazing work that you're doing there and appreciate it. And I hope every little bit helps. You said it's small, but every small piece helps. So thank you and keep it up.
Okay. All right, let's have roll call.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much. Best of luck to you. I hope that you continue having a really successful auction out there.
Do we need a resolution number for that, for TUP?
No, he says
No.
no.
No? Okay,
We're good. All right.
perfect. Trying to stay ahead of it.
Okay, rolling back to new business, the next item is a resolution declaring a local disaster due to drought conditions here in Fremont County. Once again, we're going to bring up Michael Kroll, Fremont County Emergency Manager, and this will be resolution number 44.
So a short time ago, the Department of Ag made some special considerations for local counties that have been hit hard by the drought that we've been under. And it's been ongoing for several years that we've had this drought. It's been dry. And it is taking a toll on the ag industry, whether that be livestock or foods that are produced. And they made this ability for us to make a resolution to help fund and recoup some of those losses that the county has seen. And Fremont County was lucky enough to be in that grouping for those counties that have been hit hard.
I wouldn't call that lucky, but it is, I get what you're saying, but it's
Yeah.
not, it's still
Well, we're
not
lucky that there may be some funding
Yeah.
available,
Yeah.
I think is
And
where the luck
We know,
comes.
sometimes the federal government can see things that we don't see and have other guidelines to follow when we really think we need that help and funding. So they worked it out on their end, and we got in that group to where we could declare a disaster. And with talking with you folks, Sonny and Brenda, we all decided it was a good thing to declare a disaster, to have these funds available and help out the folks, because Fremont County is so rich with the agricultural industry. So that's why I'm here to propose that today and hopefully get that signed.
All right, I would like to call your attention to the drought map of Colorado that is currently showing on the screen. Is there anything you would like to mention about that, Michael? Commissioner McCall?
The drought monitor, it updates once weekly, and as you can see in the bottom portion of the state of Colorado, it's an extreme drought. It's slowly creeping into Fremont County. It's almost to the edge of the southwest corner there. We're currently under severe and moderate drought, but as we talked about earlier, it's so very dry out there. These rain showers are nice, but as you know, they're drying up awful quick too. So it makes a huge impact when you see this, I think, because it just shows you how it is statewide. And these extreme drought areas are very dry. And as you know, we've had some fires in both corners of the state already, partially because of the drought. Lightning strikes and it starts them so fast. So this is a good monitor to kind of keep your eyes on. This will also show you in the wintertime the snowpack. You can look it up, but it's a pretty interesting tool. On this same page, if a person looks it up, you can just Google the drought monitor for Colorado. But there's also some examples at the bottom of what the different levels are. So abnormally dry kind of starts affecting crops. When you get into the severe and extreme, the crops are almost they're not growing at all. So it affects agriculture tremendously. Like you said, the cattle industry, because there's nothing to eat, or it creates very, very high prices for the hay. The crops for the food crops, well, it takes a lot of water when we're in a drought situation. I know personally my hay is not growing, even with irrigation, it's just not growing. It's so dry. So that's an indication of it right there.
I would like to point out the declaration itself, part of it says, "Be it further resolved that the principal executive officers of all other cities and towns in Fremont County affected by this disaster are also urged to proclaim similar declarations and to cooperate with Fremont County as necessary to cope with this incident." So I would say if any of the mayors or managers or council folks of our towns and municipalities here in Fremont County are interested, they can contact Michael for more information.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We did, Madam Chair, if I could, on July 16th, Michael mentioned this just a little bit, but Sonny Perdue, who is the Secretary of Agriculture, Department of Agriculture, declared a disaster for Fremont County and Chaffee County. Well, that joined counties that were already declared, which was Custer, El Paso, Gunnison, Lake Park, Pitkin, Pueblo, Swatch, and Teller counties. So as you can see, it's kind of on the map as an indication of where it is, southern Colorado. And that does open it up to help allow farmers and agriculture industry to hopefully access some funding. So appreciate Sonny Perdue for being on the lookout for that. And like I said, it's lucky we're in that part, but it's not lucky because of the situation.
Double-edged sword.
All right, I think we're ready for a motion.
Looking at me, I'll do it. Madam Chair, I move to approve resolution number 44, which is a declaration declaring a local disaster due to drought conditions in Fremont County.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 44, declaring a local disaster due to drought conditions in Fremont County. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael.
Michael.
Next item under new business, I would be really happy if we could have a meeting for once without having to mention COVID-19 or coronavirus. This, however, is not going to be that meeting. So the next item of business is an extension of the Fremont County Local Disaster Emergency Declaration for COVID-19, the coronavirus, and I'm going to turn once again to our county attorney, Brenda Jackson, and ask her for a word of explanation. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I would just note that Governor Polis has extended the state's disaster emergency declaration regarding COVID-19 into the month of August. The county's declaration of a local disaster emergency is set to expire in a day or two, tomorrow, I think. And so in order to track what the state is doing and continue to be available for various funding and other, I'd say benefits, but I guess
That's kind of like the lucky deal.
assistance with respect to the COVID-19 disaster, we need to continue extending our disaster declaration and following the state guidelines as indicated through public health orders and executive orders.
All right, thank you so much. Gentlemen, do you have anything further to add?
Resolution 45.
Resolution 45.
With that, Madam Chair, I move to approve resolution number 45. This would be extension of the Fremont County Local Disaster Emergency Declaration, set to expire midnight, August 28th, 2020.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 45 to extend the Fremont County Local Disaster Emergency Declaration for COVID-19 to midnight on August 28th. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Item 4 under new business is resolution number 46, amending the March 2019 edition of the Fremont County Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual, Chapter 6, Working Conditions. And we have with us for an explanation this morning, Sunny Bryant, our county manager.
Okay, so this actually started last year when we had a couple of severe snowstorms in the community. So this section of the personnel policy actually addresses any type of closure or delayed start. And as we were going through that process, we realized there were a few things that were missing, such as the notification to the county employees, where those notifications would take place. And we actually were notified by Michael, our emergency manager, indicating that Fremont County actually had the ability to access the Everbridge system, and that system is actually similar to the reverse 911, in which you can actually enter employees' names, phone numbers, contact information, and indicate which way they would like to be notified in the event that there's any type of closure. And so we are proposing that we actually adopt a policy regarding this on how the notification will take place, what means it will happen, and get that into the personnel policy so that in the event that there is a closure for any type of reason or a delayed start or a way that we do need to notify employees of such, that's actually in the policy manual.
And every other item and section of the policy manual remains the same,
So
correct?
every other section within that chapter remains the same, but the 6.08 is actually going to completely be replaced with the new policy. So it addresses everything that was in the other, but just expands on some of those items.
And this is the only thing that changes then?
Yes.
Okay. Questions, comments?
Nope. Ready for a motion?
Almost.
Okay.
I would just say this is something that probably has been lacking in Fremont County for a long time. We've had some really extreme weather over the last couple of years, and we have all been a little bit confused with, well, if we're going to open late open late or to close early, exactly how do we go about doing this? So we finally have a plan in place. So thank you to you and Tammy Childs, our HR director, for working on this so diligently for us. Now I am ready for a motion.
I would also note
Yep,
that
almost.
the same system can be used to notify media outlets, so the public can be notified through the media of closures or late starts, delayed starts.
Thank you.
Absolutely, yes. Okay.
Okay, Madam Chair, I'll move to approve resolution number 46, which amends the March 2019 edition of the Fremont County Personnel Policies and Procedures Manuals, Chapter 6, and its 6.8, Working Conditions.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 46 of the March 2019 edition of the Fremont County Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual, Chapter 6, Working Conditions. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, we're going to bring Sunny back up once more. We're going to talk about an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Canyon City for the Grandview Bridge and a water main.
Yes, so Fremont County has contracted with Short, Elliott, and Hendrickson, also known as SEH, to do the design for the Grandview Bridge. So in going through that process, we actually realized that there is a water line that's under there, and they had reached out to the City of Canyon City to see if they would be interested in combining the replacement of that water line or the design of that into our project. And so what is before you is the IGA with the City of Canyon City for the design work for that project. So the amount that SEH gave us to actually do that piece of the design is $33,703. And so Fremont County, the contract we have is just under $250,000, so this will be in addition to that, but it is fully paid by the City of Canyon City. It doesn't make sense for them to have to come in and do a separate design, and so it actually will save a little bit of money if we combine it with this on this project.
All right, thank you, Sunny. Understanding we still are
Debbie.
in the design phase for this project, do we have any idea yet when construction? I'm so sorry. All right, let's say again. Thanks for the explanation. And understanding that we are still in the design phase of this project, do we have any idea yet when construction might actually begin?
So I would say our hope is to apply for another grant. So our portion is also, part of it is paid for by a federal highways grant. And so.
Off-system bridge
Yes,
fund grant.
sorry, thank
Yeah.
you, Dwayne. I had a little brain freeze on that one. And so what we're looking at is, once we finish the design and come up with the cost estimate, to reapply for a grant to help pay for some of that, the actual replacement costs. So I would assume we're looking at about another 6 months to a year before we'll be looking at that process. So we're looking at a 2021, possibly a 2022 project.
Okay.
I don't know if you have.
That is going to be a massive project, and
Yes.
it's going to require a very long time of people finding an alternate route, because I'm included in those folks who drive that street a lot. So we'll all have to get used to doing something
I guess so,
different.
but on that point, this is one of the oldest and worst bridges in the county.
I
so
know
it's
that
something
too,
that needs
because
to be
I
done.
drive in and walk it a
So
lot.
it'll be a little inconvenience for a little bit, but that's better than ending up in the bottom of that thing when that, if
Absolutely,
that bridge was
yes.
to fail. It's not that far where it's gonna fail, but it is something that we need to take care of, so.
And we have been putting money aside every year through our PILT funds to pay for bridge improvements. And so this is one of those things we do we have annual bridge inspections done. And as Dwayne indicated, they give us a list of items or of bridges that need serious repairs. And there are a couple of them that are actually full replacement that we will need to plan on doing. And so about 5 years ago, we started putting aside a portion of our PILT funds every year to be used towards this. And so I'm very excited that we actually do have some match funds now that we're setting aside for this. We also had received a little bit of additional funds through our highway user tax that flowed through the Department of Transportation, and those funds have also been set aside so that we can make sure and cover our portion of the full replacement. And so this is pretty exciting for us.
Absolutely.
And sorry, one more thing. On this IGA, this actually has, the signature line is for my signature. And so if that's a concern, then we can scratch through that. But if not, you would have to
Just
allow me
authorize
to
her
sign.
signature.
Yes.
Yeah, just approve your signature on the IGA, sure.
I think just to note too, Canyon City has already signed the agreement.
Yes. Yeah, last Monday on the 20th, the city of Canyon City signed their portion of the IGA. Yeah, and for folks wondering what PILT is, payment in lieu of taxes, is our is a program that we get money from the federal government for the lands they have in Fremont County, which is over 50% of the lands in Fremont County that offsets property taxes. So, and this is what we're going to use for what we're going to use for this bridge that we decided, like you said, about 5 years ago, these county commissioners decided to put money aside and start on these bridge projects, and Grandview is the first one. It's a narrow bridge and needs to be widened and replaced, and so this is what we're going to do. So with that, Madam Chair, I move that we approve the IGA with City of Canyon City for the Grandview Bridge water main design and engineering, approving Sunny's signature on the IGA.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Canyon City for the Grandview Bridge and Water Main project. And this also does include signature by the county manager. Is there further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Up next is to appoint a new member to the Fremont County Tourism Council to fill a vacant position with a term that will end on December 31st of 2022. We do have a vacancy on the Tourism Council, and Commissioner McFall is our liaison to that council. Do you have anything you'd like to discuss?
So we did have a vacancy come open on the council, and we advertised for interested parties. The first advertisement kind of fell through the cracks. I think nobody applied for it, so we put it back out again for anybody interested, and we did receive one letter of interest. I think this person would be a very good addition to the Tourism Council. And if there's no other discussion on that, I'll go on with where I'm headed.
I would just add that this information was given to our Tourism Council, and they all seem to think that he also is highly qualified and recommended for this position.
Correct.
Okay, ready for a motion.
So with that, Madam Chair, I would move to appoint a new member of the Fremont County Tourism Council to fill a vacancy with a term ending December 31st, 2022, and that person is Jason Messer. He is the owner, operator of the KOA campground up on 8 Mile Hill, and I think he'd be a very good addition to this Tourism Council.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to appoint Jason Messer of the Royal Gorge KOA Campground to the Fremont County Tourism Council to fill the vacant position with a term that will end on December 31st, 2022. And just so you know, he also would be eligible for reappointment if he is interested at that time. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Final item under new business today is to appoint a new member to the John C. Fremont Library District to fill a vacant position with a term ending December 31st of 2025. The Board of Trustees for the John C. Fremont Library District recommends folks to fill those vacancies when they have them. They have recommended this time Chandra Johnson to fill that position.
With that, Madam Chair, I move to appoint Chandra Johnson to the John C. Fremont Library District to fill a vacant position with a term ending December 31st, 2025.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to appoint Chandra Johnson to fill that vacant seat on the John C. Fremont Library District with a term that will end on December 31st of 2025. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And there being no further business to come before this